G'day all, we've got a video today called 25 and Never Had a Girlfriend. This guy is called Bloated Clover, small channel, so follow the link in the video description to support his channel.
What's up guys, this is Frankie here, and I wanted to discuss a topic that might be a little vulnerable. I'm okay talking about it. Nobody that I know follows this channel, so I'm totally cool with it. That topic being the fact that I'm going to be turning 25 in a little over a month, and I've never been in a relationship before. I've never had a girlfriend before, and I just want to talk about my experience with that, how I feel about it, and some of the reasons why I think that might be the case.
All right, I want to stop there and then I'll let him play through and uninterruptedly explain his situation. But you can see the disappointment in his face when he is saying this, and what a lot of these guys don't realize is the majority of girlfriends you're going to get are going to be work. They're going to be a job and a cost, especially when young. Not that really age is a differentiator, but I noticed in my experiences going back in my life, I found the most overly belligerent ones were when I was younger, between 20 and sort of 25. So you're not missing out, mate. Another thing that these guys have is the opportunity to focus. Hopefully they use that time productively and focus on setting themselves up. I'm not saying you have to be some big dog entrepreneur or anything like that, but it's using that time and ability to save more money effectively. You could go and study, you could go and do other trade, you could do a whole bunch of other things. You could use your time that you would normally spend on the weekends or weeknights chasing around girls, learning how to invest. Like self-education, we've never had more opportunity in this world to do that with the technology that we have at our fingertips. Now, I'm not going to say I did that, okay? But I'm going to say if I could go back in time, I wish I did that. Because when I was this guy's age, and even younger, I was running around every waking moment. Was either on a dating website or chat room or having girlfriends and running around after women. So what I'm trying to say here is it's not necessarily a curse, but it can be a blessing. But you don't know what you don't know. I'm not saying all women are bad or anything like that. What I'm saying is they take a lot of effort. They'll put stress in your life and they'll take your focus away from pursuits that can set you up for the rest of your life, especially if you're smart with what you do and focused.
So I guess I should start about the time when I first actually thought that having a girlfriend might be a cool thing in my life. I never really craved or wanted a partner until maybe I was like 15 or 16. That was probably the first time I was like, oh, you know what? A girlfriend might be a pretty cool thing to have. But unfortunately, when I first kind of had that idea, I was riddled with insecurity. As a teenager, I struggled very much with this eye condition that I have, which is called nystagmus, a condition which makes my eyes shake around. In addition to my eye condition, I also have what might appear to be like a lazy eye, where my eyes are a little separate, so one drifts off or the other drifts off one way or another. And
you barely even notice it. So like he's more or less handicapped himself mentally. But once again, I've talked about this a number of times because it goes to show you what men are sold, which is a lot of the times a fake dream. And that dream is that the pinnacle of your existence is to get a girlfriend. And when you get that girlfriend or wife or whatever it is, it's going to make your life 100% better. Just based on that, like you've achieved social acceptance. But as we know, guys, a lot of the time it doesn't end up going that way. And I would say, yeah, like young sort of love, if you want to call it that. I find it can be more genuine when you're younger, when you have nothing and they have nothing, and they're not looking to lock you in for any particular reason. I can sort of believe in it then, but not as you get older. But what the difference is. What the difference is between the dream and the reality for a large proportion of men is leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds in difference. And what do I mean by that? Well, you think you're going to get this perfect life, everything's going to go your way, you'll be sold a dream, you're both going to contribute and you're going to have each other's back and all this sort of bullshit. And a lot of time it doesn't work out that way. And you get rug pulled. I'm not saying every guy has that experience. And I'm not saying all women are bad. There's some really great women out there. I would say it is more and more difficult to find someone who's really going to help you in your life, especially now in 2025. That's the point I'm trying to get across. Is like these guys aren't missing out much. They're chasing women around who are not really going to overly value them. And then these are the kind of guys who they'll get a girlfriend, get a girl on the hook who sort of just accepts him. He would just sacrifice his whole life to make her happy. He'd be like a little puppy dog. And eventually they get chewed up and spat out, crushed. Rinse and repeat. I know it sounds cynical. But unfortunately, it's what happens.
In high school, this really bugged me. I got bullied pretty harshly for it. And because of this bullying, because of my perception of myself, I was incredibly insecure. And I didn't really have friends in high school. I had one close friend that I met when I was a sophomore or a junior. And I had a couple friends that I knew for like my entire life before that. But other than that, I just had a couple of people. And I struggled very much to put myself out there. I struggled very much to be myself in the presence of other people. And because of this, I think that having a girlfriend at the time, or even really deeming myself capable of speaking to women, was pretty much impossible. I never even really considered putting myself out there and talking to a girl. I was way too insecure. It was just the idea of that just seemed unfathomable. So all throughout high school, I never really had, I never had a girlfriend. I never spoke to a woman, never even had any friends who were women.
That's a good thing, dude. You're not missing out on that. I can tell you that much.
So fast forward until maybe I'm like, I want to say 20 is when I first started mingling around with women. When I first kind of had my first fling or so. But this was a time in my life when I was still a bit insecure about my eyes, getting over it. But there was another problem here, and this was that I felt an immense lack of independence in my life. This because I couldn't drive, because I have poor vision, because of my eye condition. And because I couldn't drive, I never thought to myself, I never thought that a woman would want to be in a relationship with me because I couldn't drive. You know, I always figured that the role of the man in society is that, you know, I pick you up and I take you out and I drop you off and, you know, you're in my car and I drive.
Well, I guess to show you like the programming, right? He's like that whole process that he just talked about is something you see on movies, you see it on TV shows. You know, the guy walks up, he pulls up out the front of the house, he jumps out, he straightens up his suit jacket, he gets the roses, you know, the bunch of roses or the flowers, and the heart-shaped box with a little bow on it, and he skips, you know, he's happy, he hops up the driveway and he goes and knocks on the door, and Dad comes out and he goes, "G'day, mate. How you going? Don't go fucking my daughter, you dog." And he's like, "No, I won't. I'll bring her back by 10. He's like, "Fucking 9. He goes, "All right." That's what they're programmed to think you do. I would argue that would even really happen anymore, especially with the apps and all that sort of stuff and dating apps. I did used to do that. My very first girlfriend, she was from traditional Polish background. So the mum and dad, they were pretty heavily involved in her life. So you'd have to go and speak to the mum and have to go and speak to the dad and, go in and shake his hand before you go and take her out on a date and all this sort of stuff. I don't think that shit would happen much anymore. But I don't know, hey, I'm not 20 anymore. But I'm talking 20 years ago. That's what I was doing. And even then, that felt outdated. I couldn't imagine now people swiping and meeting on apps. And then they're like, oh, yeah, I met you, match with you on Tinder. Oh, yeah, by the way, this is my address. Come pick me up and meet my dad. Pretty sure that ain't happening at their age. All right, halfway. If you're enjoying the content, consider subbing to the channel. Like, comment, and share. Press the hype button. Once again, if you guys do want to talk to me, you can check out the link in the video description and set up a time if that's something you're interested in. And also check out the Patreon. Every little bit helps support me and decentralize basically my dependence on YouTube. At some point, I probably will get cancelled off here. So if you do want to support me, check out the link in the video description for the Patreon as well. It's a few bucks a month. All right, let's keep going.
Drive you around. And at the time, I was just insecure in the idea that, a woman wouldn't be okay with her driving or her picking me up. Because of this, I also never really made so much of an attempt to get into a relationship or to find a partner. There were a couple women in my life who I slept with, but the relationships never seemed too sincere because first of all, they were short-lived. And secondly, I lied to them. I just said, I don't have a car right now because I can't afford a car and I'm working towards it. And, eventually, I'll be able to get a car. And for some reason,
that's probably even worse than what he's saying. He's saying he has no money, but I guess a young Steve-O, I mean, he's still pulling a few routes. So good luck to him. Isn't like he's not getting any action and he's, sitting inside and can't meet anyone. So clearly he's doing okay, and he looks fine to me. He's not bad looking at all. So I think he's a bit hard on himself because what did we say? Is that guys pedestalize women, especially when you're younger. I can recall doing that back when I was a lot younger. Oh gosh, you're so pretty. I'd never have a chance in hell of her even wanting to talk to me. So it's just a chick, dude. She's no different to you. She's a meat bag, just like you. She's just got a pair of tits. That's it. There's really no difference. She farts and takes massive dumps as well. She's not an angel. There's nothing special about them. But it does go back to that programming. I find it really interesting to watch these videos, and I'm mixing it up a little bit because I don't want to watch these female dating coaches and slurries on TikTok and that all the time. I like to sort of differentiate a little bit the content. So let me know if you are enjoying a little bit of me mixing it up a little bit and talking about different things. But I find this guy's story quite interesting.
The reason I felt uncomfortable telling them that I had bad eyesight and that I didn't drive because of my lack of vision. For some reason, it never occurred to me to just be honest with them and tell that to them. And I think I didn't tell that to them because I felt that they wouldn't be okay with it. I felt that because I don't drive, that maybe I'm less than, and that they wouldn't have any interest in dating me because I'm not capable of driving or maybe being independent. So because of that, yeah, I lied to a few women, and the relationships never really turned into anything because I just couldn't feel like I could have a sincere relationship with them, or there just wasn't a woman in my life where I felt that it was worth telling the truth to.
I got to think of these people as well getting really, really caught up on trying to find the one, in quotes. We all know it's all bullshit, but they're trying to find the one to settle down with young. Now, I know that's been traditionally what people have done, but I'll be interested to see the divorce rates between people who marry earlier and older. Does it make a difference? I think it probably makes a difference for females based on how many dudes they've slept with and all that sort of stuff and the pair bonding and all that sort of shit. I wonder if it makes a difference for the man, because he's still hooked in, he's still locked in anyway. But, the difference between, even say me at 22 and me at 35, leaps and bounds difference in mentality and worldliness. to making a decision to get hitched to someone for the rest of your life. It's just, I don't know. I don't know why people want to rush into it. They want to grow up too quick. Now, my advice to guys would be, I mean, maybe if you've met somebody you've fully got your heart set on, you want to risk it, okay. Well, as I said, take your time with it. But I would take your time and build yourself up a little bit first, because there's nothing better than having full agency over all your time and all your money. And once you get especially a move-in girlfriend de facto, or get married, I'm not saying this happens in all cases, but generally you're going to lose most of your autonomy. Not many women out there who are really cool, who let you go and do whatever you want to do. Listen to the language let, right? Buy what you want to buy. Won't critique you, harangue you, nag you, harass you, because that's what you're going to get. So guys seem like they're hell-bent on rushing into doing that. I guess enjoy the good times, dude, while you're young.
So that is another reason why I made it this far and haven't gotten into a relationship. Fast forward, at this time I was living in Florida. Fast forward a couple of years, I was now living in Georgia. Let's say I'm about 22, 23 at this time. And pretty much the entire time I lived in Georgia, I always had the idea that I would be moving from Georgia. I always had the idea that Georgia would be a short-lived period in my life, and eventually I'm gonna move to some other city. Of course, I'm in New York City right now. That's where I live. But for a while, New York wasn't really the idea. It was always like Denver or like Oregon. I don't fucking know why. Obviously, New York was the right idea, but especially because of the public transit. So I always figured, in my time in Georgia, I'm not even gonna really try to get into a relationship because I'm not gonna be here long enough. I'm gonna be here for like 6 months or a year. And I'm not even gonna try. So up until this time in Georgia, pretty much in hindsight, it seems like the biggest reason why I didn't get into a relationship was because of my own self-doubt and these negative ideas and perceptions of myself that I had. And I was really getting in my own way for a while. For a long time, I was really getting into my own way. And throughout all of this time, from the age of 15 all the way up until 22, 23, like I said, I wanted to experience what it was like to have a partner. I wanted to have a girlfriend. The idea seemed nice, and some of my friends had been in relationships, and it just felt like something that I've always wanted to have. And I was just too scared to get out of my own way and allow something like that to happen. So fast forward now, I'm 24, I'm going to be 25 in, like I said, a little over a month. And I live in New York City. Though I have moments of insecurity with my eyes, I feel pretty confident in myself. I'm happy with where I am in my life, and I'm no longer so insecure about my eyes. It's my internal dialogue in regards to my eyes is no longer constant shame and embarrassment. When I was younger, I would avoid eye contact. I wouldn't even look at people because I was scared about how they would perceive me. Like I said, fast forward now, I'm doing pretty okay. I'm not so insecure. I live in a place where I can be independent, and I no longer have the concern of my inability to drive and to pick people up or whatever. And I truly believe for the first time in my life that I am potentially ready to have a relationship.
Okay. I mean, hey, each their own. And as I said, we've all been there and done that. Well, the most of us have. I'm not saying that everybody who watches my videos has done that. If I was to go back and think about my own experiences more or less throughout my entire life, with relationships with women, dating, all of that, there's only been one or two. I can tell you now. One or two that you really look back at or know and go, wow, that's a really just top chick. that would actually fit the bill of what this whole perception that men have that most women are like, which we know they're not. Well, I try and teach you guys that they're not. One or two, maybe three, if we widen the criteria slightly. I'm talking 20 plus years. Most of my experience, if I reflect on it, I had some good times. I'm not saying I didn't have any good times. It was good times. But it came from a place of service. Like most men enter it automatically. Like, see, what was his thing? I won't be able to get a girlfriend because I won't be able to pick her up and drive around the car. Right? Acts of service. So doing things for people. So young guys, instinctually and by society as well, have been programmed that you're just a beast of burden. And that's been, majority of my life has been beast of burden when I've had relationships with women. Like serious relationships, not monster hunting, not being Skynet and banging chicks and all that. But when you get into those real serious entanglements, as I said, I would say the majority of people that are in them would not be happy, not 100% satisfied. In terms of that as well, you get to the next stage and get married. What's the divorce rate? Between 40 and 50%. Mostly initiated by women. And then the ones that remain married, how many of those as a percentage do you think would be like waking up every day just wrapped, excited with the choice they made, either in their woman or their wife with them? Be pretty low. People just exist together. I think that also happens too. So when people get a little bit older than this guy, I can see that someone like this is like the prime candidate for, you get to 30, 32. He's, been good with his money and his job. He hasn't had much experience with women. I talk about these kind of guys all the time. And then you finally get a girl on the hook and you just get speed run. All of a sudden you're living together after 6 months. And then you're engaged after a year. And then within a year of being engaged, you've gotten married from nothing. So you've gone from 0 to 100 in 2 years. Sometimes it happens faster than that. And then they think they're going to get this. They just think they've won the Powerball. Okay, you've won Lotto. It's exciting. Life's fun. She's treating you good. You're treating her good. It's a fun time, right? It's dopamine. All these big life changes are happening. And then all that stops. Right? It all stops, and then you're stuck in a house together and you start to learn who she really is and she learns who you really are. And a lot of the time, people are very disappointed in what they signed up for because I signed up for it based on emotion and FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, like these kind of guys. Scarcity.
And willing to start dating, and I feel like it's actually a possibility right now for the first time. I feel like all the things that were in my way or all the internal dialogue that I allowed to get to myself, they're not there anymore. I've resolved all of those things, and I'm grateful. I am extremely happy with the idea that I'm totally open to it now. There's none of that is in my way. So I guess I'm just just saying that I'm ready. I'm ready for it, and I'm excited to experience that whenever the time is right. I was talking to my aunt the other day.
I want to talk to. I think dating's fine. Go do what you want, right? I don't say to guys stay away from women. I say, hey, go monster hunt and have a good time if you can. If you're in that mind where you want to do more than that, which is probably a large proportion of people who watch this content, just take your time with it. Take your time. Don't go getting rose-colored glasses and rushing in. Getting into high levels of commitment quickly that are going to cause you a lot of problems to get out of. That's all I'm going to try and say here. What guys like this should do, it should be mandatory for all men, but especially guys like this who are at high risk of getting speed run and then divorce raped and all that. Go spend a day or 2 days sitting in family court and sitting within either the mediation sessions, like a fly on the wall, even watch a video recording of them and just see what people who rushed into things, made bad choices in the people they got with, where you end up. And that's sit on the other side of the table of someone who's trying to take all your money. And people say, you're a miserable bastard, because I've said this to people. Oh, you're a miserable bastard and life's not all about money and blah, 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 blah. You wait and see how much it's all about money when things go fucking pear-shaped. When things go to shit, it's all about the dollars. So you'll be in protection mode, right? I can speak from my own experience. You're like, shit, all right, I'm exposed here. How do I protect myself? What do I do? She's going to be going to lawyers and all that, trying to work out what she can get, how much she can extract out of you. So it's all about money. You're on the defensive, she's on the offensive. So that's what you get. It's very common. That's why there's huge industry, family law. And that doesn't even include the pain and trauma of if you have children with someone and the woman's being horrible with the kids and using them as a bargaining chip or a negotiating tool or a pain point, like a torture device to inflict emotional damage on you. Like a lot of guys go through that. Poisoning the kids against whoever that woman doesn't want those kids to be involved with. So it could be extended family of the ex-husband, okay, brothers and sisters and grandparents, just complete isolation and poisoning against one side of a family because you know what it is? If something bad's happened, they don't want the kids to find out the truth. So they poison the kids against them. Okay, I'm talking about cheating or whatever bad behaviour's blown up a marriage. That shit happens a lot. I've heard so many stories, I've had so many guys email me as well. Very scary. So these guys, they need to see that. So then they can go, oh, hang on. All right, I don't want to be by myself forever, but there are a lot of risks involved here in getting into these situations and challenges, daily challenges. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, so to speak. It's not all roses. You know, yeah, I think a girlfriend would be cool. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a girlfriend. When they start fucking acting up, dude, you won't be saying that.
Just another thing that I'll mention, I feel like I have pushed a lot of women away from me, and I haven't really given the opportunity for myself to start dating because I feel like I'd always like find something wrong or something that I don't like, and I feel like I've been pushing away a lot of opportunities. And my aunt, you know, she sat me, we had a conversation. She was like, you know, maybe just stop shutting yourself off to all of these possibilities. Stop closing yourself. Just be open. Start dating. You know, I've never really wanted to date a girl that I didn't feel like I could eventually marry. That's kind of always how I felt too. And up until now, there's never been a woman in my life who I found to be someone who I think I would be willing to marry one day.
You're going to be waiting a while, mate. This guy sounds like he's got his heart in the right place. But the older you get, if you're one of those guys who wants to get into that sort of scenario and you're looking for purity and all that sort of thing, which sounds like this is the kind of guy, every day that goes, that little dream, that drifts away. Because let's be realistic, if you're going out with and meeting women any over the age of 25 who've been actively in the dating market, they've slept with at least double digits by then. And let's not even mention the ones that I talk about or critique all the time, which are the slurries. The slurries say 30 plus, maybe some of those are divorced, separated. Some of them have been institutionalized on dating apps. You can imagine the body counts on them. And you say, well, what do you mean the divorced ones or the separated ones? They've been married. Okay, yeah, a lot of them would cheat all the way through. Any Steve or Bryce will tell you there are plenty of a married chick on the dating apps for plundering. And as soon as they get out, okay, as soon as they've kicked husband out of the house, fucked him off, they're straight on those apps. They're getting trains ran through. It is eating a buffet of dim sims. That's basically what happens. All right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I know I'm ranting on a bit today. A bit of a different conversation. It's more of a genuine sort of chat today without me talking too much shit. I'm trying to impart some wisdom on those who may be feeling behind in life because they might not have that dream woman that they think that maybe or their friends might have. Because I can tell you one thing, I'm going to end it on one closing note. Most guys will never tell you what they really deal with behind closed doors. You never truly find out about it unless they get divorced and then they're drowning their sorrows over a beer and they'll tell you what their life was really like. So just have a think about that next time you think about being down about it. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.